Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm very excited to be sharing a book that maybe not all of you have come across before. This is Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Kupersmith. Now I'm very fortunate in that sometimes publishers send me books to read which I then share with you, so I'm very grateful for that. One, because that's very nice to receive a book in the post, but secondly it does mean that occasionally I get hold of a book that I wouldn't have picked up otherwise, and it's a book that will go down as one of my favourites. Build Your House Around My Body. Thank you, One World Publications, because this is going to go down as one of my favourite books that I've read. It is a powerful, genre-bending, supernatural, contemporary thriller, adventure, feminist, revenge-esque plot book from a debut writer. Hello Violet, this is your first book. Wow, congratulations to you, this is amazing. And so I'm really hoping that by talking about this book and sharing it with you today, I may encourage a few of you to pick it up as well, and you too will hopefully be as amazed and as excited as I am about this particular book. So Build Your House Around My Body. One World Publications in particular is very focused on supporting writers from a non-Western bias, either in their own identity or in where they write or in what they write about. And so we have a book here that's set in Vietnam, in the southern areas of Vietnam, in and around Saigon and the mountain lands and border areas and villages around it. This is a book, however, set in Vietnam across about 50 years, across about 3 different plot lines, all of which converge impeccably. So where do we have? We start off in contemporary Saigon with Winnie, an American Vietnamese young woman who's gone over to Saigon to start a new life for herself. Winnie is an introvert. She's profoundly small in personality. She likes to hide herself away. Very much someone your eyes would pass over if you ever met her. Winnie is someone who seems to be diminishing and going in on herself, till one day, quite without notice, she just vanishes. Her boyfriend, her employer, they don't know where she is. Any sign of her just vanishes away. 50 years earlier, we jump back to one of the villages in and around Saigon, where a very young girl called Bin witnesses something grotesque at a funeral that's being held in her village. What they witness scares the boys around the village, but it doesn't scare her. She remains defiant. 25 years later, so 25 years after this particular funeral and 25 years before Winnie goes missing, there we also meet another woman who wanders into a plantation, a daughter of a wealthy landowner who is married to someone seemingly out of convenience for her family, wanders into the plantation one night and is utterly transformed. Now these 3 separate plot lines will eventually converge in this brilliant, revenge-packed, supernatural, gothic, Shirley Jackson-esque kind of darkness, glorious, brilliant adventure book. This is a set of 3 plots, like I mentioned, that are held together by a ghost hunter who is the shaman of the local area where people go to if they want to contact ghosts or if they feel that there is a possession or that they are haunted. This is someone who who lives in a world where animal possession is not unusual, where ghosts of the dead, spirits of the dead come back and haunt and possess other people's bodies. They take over physical animals or humans to avenge crimes from their past. This kind of translucent barrier between life and death, between this world and the next, is what gives this book its spine-tingling gothic excitement. It is very much something that is beautifully supernatural and surreal, but Violet anchors this in a really brilliant, vivid descriptions of Vietnam, particularly contemporary Saigon or the mountain lands. This is not something that you feel is a little bit alien from you, but something that is very real here and centered. And I absolutely love this blurring of lines between this world and the other world. And I particularly like how she's wrapped that in Vietnamese culture and Vietnamese history. I fantastically flew through this book. It has some wonderful feminist themes that obviously I would warm to. It really looks at the treatment of women, it looks at misogyny, and it empowers the girls and women in this book to use this myth of possession, of ghosts, of revenge, to finally make good on crimes that have been committed against them in life. And that really is the power of this book. You can actually see on this fantastic cover, you've got things like cobras and the snake. The possession of snakes is quite a frequent occurrence. If you're not great with cobras, I'll just let you know. But also around sort of people themselves, how we can be possessed and taken over from things that we don't necessarily mean anything to our lives, but may mean something to other people's lives. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read a small snippet from this book, because what I wanted to do is, when sometimes you get a new writer or something which is as genre defying as this book, you're almost not sure whether you'll find it accessible. So I'm just going to read a small bit from this book, a section set in the contemporary section, contemporary Vietnam, and just to give you an idea of Violet's writing. So I hope it will encourage you to read it. To kill a little more time, Tan made some perfunctory small talk with an ageing gangster at the table next to him, whose saggy chest skin was crawling with faded indigo tattoos of slack-jawed dragons. Tan accepted a beer from him and drank it while trying not to grimace. Eventually he gave in and ordered a snail porridge of his own, but could only finish half of it because the hard convex curve of his belly was straining his shirt buttons. The long-haired girl's table was empty now. She had left without him noticing. Tan stifled a yawn, and then for the second time that day felt an inexplicable shiver right at the base of his neck. Slowly, Tan turned on his stool in every direction and checked his surroundings. He even looked up, fearful for a minute that the vengeful ghost of Bin would be dangling above him like a bat. She was not, and he was embarrassed by his paranoia. The street was too crowded. She would not come for him here. So, look, if you are looking desperately for a new type of book, that you want to be amazed and excited by a new writer with a young, fresh ideas and great vision, and to take you into a world that you're not familiar with. Vietnam might not be a world or a country that is perhaps you've even visited, but it is beautifully evoked in these pages, and it is just a fantastic new fresh set of writing and ideas. And I'm a huge fan of Build Yourself Around My Body. I have mentioned Shirley Jackson before. She is one of my favourite writers. I do love the gothic world that she creates, and it's that sense of world creation that Violet has really mastered here. This is a world that she's created that completely hangs together, has a perfect internal logic, and has fascinating characters, particularly this character Bin from 50 years ago, who is a very ferocious, assertive woman, and that is contrasted beautifully to the very meek Winnie who we have in contemporary Saigon. And it's just a wonderful yin yang in this book. Fantastic. I cannot recommend this enough, and I really hope that you take the chance on this, because it is such a fantastic payoff. Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Kupersmith, and I really hope we hear more from her soon.